Hi everyone, my name is Louis. I am a sports journalist studying sports journalism at Brighton University, going into my second year. I'm a Brighton fan, as you can guess from the background and what I've just said. I run the Louis Sailing YouTube channel and TikTok, and I also write for a site called The Brighton Base that's just started up this summer. But yeah, Harry's asked me to give you a preview of the game at the weekend. Brighton hosting Tottenham on Saturday at 3 o'clock at the Amex Stadium. So without further ado, let's get into my initial thoughts going into the game. It'll be an interesting game, that is for sure. I should be worried because we've had a really poor start to the season. We haven't played very well. But this is Brighton we're talking about. And we usually lose to the teams we should be beating, and we usually beat the teams we should be losing to. So in that regard, I'm pretty confident. And we have quite a good record against Tottenham. We did the double last season, 4-1 away on the last game of the season. Take that with a pinch of salt, of course, because it was Postecoglou. He knew he was getting the sack at that point. And Spurs had just won the Europa League, so they were obviously enjoying themselves on the few days leading up to the game. But the home game, we were 2-0 down and we won 3-2. This man, big part in the comeback. Jorginho Rutter scoring the equaliser, and then of course Danny Welbeck scoring the winner. So in that regard, I'm quite confident. But what worries me is Thomas Frank. We're usually very poor against Thomas Frank teams. A Brentford team always used to beat us. We got not many wins against them. So it depends how he sets up. If he sets up in a defensive structure, which he should do if he wants to win the game and if he knows anything about us, then I'm worried because we really struggle to break down low blocks. But if he steps up the pitch, gets his team to play somewhat high and be on the front foot and there's space in behind, I think we win the game. Matoma, Minte in behind on the wings has kind of been our only decent outlet this season. Minte by far has been our player of the season in the first 4 games, or best player in the first 4 games, and especially that assist against Bournemouth, that cross was lovely to see. But predicted lineup, what I'm going to predict is very different to what I want, but we'll get onto that in a minute. I'm expecting Hörsler to stick with Bart Verbruggen in goal. That is a given. I'd be very surprised if he puts Jason Still in net. Right back, Joel Veltman, I'm pretty sure that's what he'll go with. Centre back partnership, I think he'll go with Van Hecke and Dunk once again. People will disagree in terms of what they want, myself as well, but I think that's what Hörsler will go with. Left back will be Maxim de Kuyper if he's fit. Had a bit of an injury scare against Bournemouth, but if not, it'll be Ferdi Kadioglu, pretty much like for like on the left back. Midfield is a difficult one to predict because Carlos Baleba, I'm sure you're all expecting me to say, yep, he'll be starting first name on the team sheet. But that is not the case at the moment. He had a very poor first 3 games. His head was obviously all over the place with the Manchester United links. He was benched against Bournemouth for James Milner, and then he come on for the last 20 minutes. And I have to say, he played one of the worst games I've ever seen from a player in a Brighton shirt. I think I gave him a rating of about 1 or 2, if I was being generous. He gave the ball away every single time he got it. He looked void of any confidence. So that's a slight worry. So I think he'll be benched again after that performance. The DM could be James Milner. It could be Diego Gomez. Yari could even drop deeper with Jack Hinchwood out injured. But I'll go with a Gomez, a Yari. I think that's what we're likely to see. I think a Milner in the midfield against this Spurs team could be dangerous. On the left will be Karim Matoma. That is a given. On the right, Minte as well. That's also a given. In the 10, I think it will be Jorginho Rutter. And then up front is Danny Welbeck. I would personally be quite disappointed if we saw some of those players starting. They've had a very difficult start to the season. I think they need time on the bench to think, right, I'm not the first name on the team sheet. I stick with Verbruggen in goal, Veltman right back, that's for sure. Van Hecke starts. Dunk I would drop. I think he's had an okay start to the season, but the end of last season was very poor, and last week he had a disaster. I wouldn't be against a Coppola or Boscagli starting. For those of you who don't know who they are, Coppola is a 21-year-old Italian centre-back who played for Hellas Verona, joined in the summer for about £9-10 million, was a standout at the under-21s Euros. Very, very solid defender, good in the air, a proper body on the line. Centre-back, Boskagli is very different. He's older, he's French, he came on a free from PSV. He's solid defensively, of course, for a centre-back, but he's very good on the ball. He can break those lines. The passing is one of the best I've ever seen from a centre-back. I'd be happy with either or. In the DM, I would like Mats Wiefer. If he's fit, he was injured last week and the game before against Manchester City. I'd like that defensive stability in the midfield, someone that can just patrol the back four. In the 8, I'm happy with whoever, Gomez or Ayari. Wingers will stay with, but where I really want to see a change is in this 10 and striker role. I want Brian Gruder starting in the 10. I think that's the main one that all Brighton fans want to see. He was exceptional at the end of last season, scored the winner against City and has been electric every time he has played. So it has to be Brian Gruder in the 10 for me. I'd love to see that. Up front, Jorginho Ruta, I'm happy to see that. I don't want Danny Welbeck starting. He's looked a shadow of what he was last season. His pressing has been very, very lacklustre. His hold-up play has been awful. His passing has been awful. And I honestly can't recall him having a shot in the last 4 games. So, Jorginho Ruta up front. I would also like to see Stefano Simas get some more minutes. Starting, I'm not entirely sure, but coming on against a tired backline with that pace, that strength, that directness in behind, I'd love to see him play. Tommy Watson also on the left for Matoma in the last 15-20 minutes. He's a 6'3" left winger. We signed from Sunderland. He scored the winner in the playoff final in the last minutes. He's very different to Matoma. He cuts inside and he likes getting shots off, and I think that could be very, very crucial in the closing stages of this game. But that's my Brighton team, what I expect and what I'd want. A couple of changes, but I don't think we'll see those changes, unfortunately, which I would be quite worried about. Spurs winning by quite comfortably. Spurs players that I'm quite scared of that I think will do very, very well. We have to look at the attackers. Kudus, a very, very good player. I think we'd have a bit of a difficult time against him when he's on the right. Our left back, Kadioglu or De Kuyper, play very, very, very high and don't do too much defending, but it depends how Hösler sets up, I suppose. Matthias Tell, I think, is a fantastic player. I predicted him to win Young Player of the Season. I can see him causing a lot of issues. And then I think I need to highlight Kolo Muani as well. He's a bit of an unknown entity in the Premier League. We know how good he can be, and if he brings that to the Premier League, especially if Lewis Dunk's starting with that pace, that physicality, I think we could be in a lot of trouble. Predicted score, I've got to be confident in my team. I've got to go with a Brighton win. We're going to concede, that's for sure. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Brighton win. I think Matthias Tell will score, and for Brighton, I think we will score from a set piece, from a corner. I'm going to go with Van Heck, and then I think we'll score another late winner, and I will go with Stefano Simas if he plays, which I think he will. I hope he will, because that will be the difference between winning and losing. Also, I should say as well, Tottenham playing Champions League in midweek against Villarreal. In the closing stage of the game, that fatigue could be the difference between us winning and Spurs winning. They have a very, very deep squad, a very good squad, but those first few Champions League games, those getting back used to that midweek weekend schedule in the first few games is always a big issue for teams. But if they're fit, I think Tottenham. Head saying Tottenham win, heart saying Brighton win, but we shall see. It will definitely be an interesting, exciting game. In general, my thoughts on Brighton's season so far are not too positive. There's 2 ways of looking at it, I'll be honest. Your Hösler in, your Hösler out. Unfortunately, there's quite a few Hösler outs. If you're looking at it from the out perspective, we were awful against Fulham, created next to nothing. We were pretty poor against Everton, missed a penalty, we actually created some chances against Everton, but we were just sloppy all over the park. City, we did beat, but we played well for maybe the last 20 minutes. And then Bournemouth, one of the worst performances I've seen in a very, very long time. But then if you look at it from a Hösler in perspective, You've got the Fulham, we conceded in the last 5 seconds because experienced players did not do their job. Hurstler can't do much about that. Then we look at Everton, we missed some sitters. O'Reilly missed a big chance, 1-on-1 with Pickford. Welbeck missed a penalty and an open goal. We should have been out of sight in the first half. City, we won. Hurstler made fantastic subs and changed the game. And Bournemouth, it was a game after the international break, and it was just one of those. It happens, everyone had a bad day at the office. Me personally, I'm looking at it in that perspective. I think the players have not helped Hurstler out at all. They've been quite sloppy, and I think once we get back into it, once these new players start getting in the team, Boscagli, Coppola, Seamas, Watson, and a player I haven't mentioned yet, Babis Costellas, I don't think will be involved. Hurstler said he's not quite ready yet, but once they get embedded, I think we'll have a pretty good season, and it'll be much better than it has been in the first 4 games. I did predict us in my predictions video to finish 5th, and I'm going to stick with that because I don't want to change it, because I know how good we can be, and we've seen glimpses, and once we get going, as I said, I'm pretty confident. Tottenham, many people disagree with me. I predicted Tottenham to finish 3rd. I love Thomas Frank. I love the team that Tottenham have built. They've got that defensive stability now. That Ange Postecoglou high line was an absolute killer last season when Van der Ven and Romero were out injured. But yeah, I think Tottenham will continue to do well. Will do very well this season and easily finish in a Champions League spot. But yeah, that is all from me. Thank you, Harry, for having me on, and I look forward to the game, and hopefully we get a Brighton win, another 3 points on the board. Very, very much needed.